Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa Guild and I'm here at the Osage Forest of Peace right outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we are here with Tenzin Tsepal. She was first introduced to Buddhist meditation in high school in 1975. And then she also trained as a clinical and administrative healthcare in the US while continuing her practice and Buddhist studies. After she went to a 3-month retreat, she had a life-changing event, which then propelled her to live in Dharmsala, India, whereupon she studied for 2 years and has been ordained as a Buddhist monk by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. After that, she then continued extensive studies for over 11 years at the Buddhist Programme in Chenrezig Institute in Queensland, Australia, where she's now the Western teacher. We are extraordinarily fortunate to have her here at the Osage Forest of Peace. Just so you all know, there's still some people here from the retreat today, so as we're looking around the room, you'll have an idea of why, because we've just had an extraordinary experience. So, Tenzin Tsepal, if I may, why is it important for individuals in our audience and then also here at the retreat center to meditate in their life? And how are some simple techniques that they can go about? Because a lot of people are experiencing stress in their life and they don't even know the basics.
We might have to repeat the whole day.
I know.
That's what we talked about today. I think the reason that we're wanting to meditate is because we all want to be happy, we want to be free of suffering. And the fact is, there are things that we can do to improve our mental health, such as mindfulness meditation. Today we talked about 2 types of meditation. There's placement meditation, which many people are familiar with, like the breathing meditation or walking meditation. And that's to help calm our mind and focus our mind, develop some concentration. But then there are other meditations that we experience today, the analytic meditations, which help us to investigate the nature of reality. So for instance, today we did a meditation on the preciousness of our human life and also the impermanence of our human life, death and impermanence. We also did some meditations for cultivating positive states of mind that actually accord with reality, like compassion, like loving kindness. And also we looked into some of the disadvantages of negative states of mind, like anger, how those negative states of mind are distorted in some way. Those negative states of mind are called such because they don't accord with reality. And if our mind is out of touch with reality, then our actions are also going to be out of touch with reality. And this is what causes suffering. So in this day and age, whether people are interested in being Buddhist or not, the most important thing is that we learn something about the nature of our mind, how our mind functions, so that we can be happier, more productive individuals.
On that note, on practical meditation, if you will, so I'm sure there are individuals that are watching the video and also individuals that are here in the room right now. Let's just take a very simple example. 5 o'clock traffic. You're sitting there, you're stuck in traffic, people are whizzing by you, a lot of people experience a lot of stress in traffic and a lot of thoughts in traffic. How would mindfulness be helpful for an individual who's stuck in 5 o'clock traffic and has to rush home and feed their kids?
I think the natural tendency or inclination is to follow nervous thoughts or anxious thoughts, stressful thoughts. I should be doing this, I should be moving. Why isn't the traffic moving faster? Those are thoughts that are actually resisting what's happening in that moment. The only time we suffer is when we're out of touch with reality. A much more productive way of working with that time is to accept the situation. Okay, this is what's happening. I'm stuck in traffic. I can accept that. I don't need to resist that. And in fact, I can use this time to either do some breathing meditation. We saw today just 5 minutes of breathing meditation, or even 3 minutes or 2 minutes if you're stuck in the car in traffic. Just consciously being aware of breathing, consciously relaxing the different parts of the body, and following the breath can just help us to calm down and stay in the present moment so that we're not as likely to follow a lot of these erroneous ways of thinking that cause more stress on top of the stress that we're already experiencing.
The ability to actually become aware of our thoughts rather than our thoughts gripping us and running our life. We actually have the ability to step back from them, take a pause, and choose to respond rather than react. If you would just dive a little deeper into that concept for individuals, perhaps like with work situations or family situations. And also you mentioned the acceptance of what is so, just kind of going along with it, and how would one manage their thinking going along with something that perhaps they don't like in their family.
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. Yeah, there's a lot of information. We went through a lot of things today. It was fabulous. But whatever calls forth for you on that one. Yeah.
The most important thing is that we begin to investigate what's happening in the mind. And until we slow down and begin to observe our thoughts and our thinking process, then it's going to be very difficult to make any meaningful changes, lasting changes, stable changes that will translate what we know intellectually into how we actually live our lives, our behavior. So a lot of what we learn in the Buddhist context is not necessarily rocket science. It's not something that we don't already know. A lot of it is common sense, but it's not so common, have you noticed? So what we're trying to do is make it more common in our own life experience by familiarizing. If we can meditate at home before we leave the house, chances are good that our day is going to go better, whether we're doing an analytic meditation on loving kindness or equanimity, or the one we did today on the disadvantages of self-cherishing, the advantages of cherishing others, or compassion. Any of those meditations are going to lubricate our mind in a positive way so that whatever situation we encounter, we're more likely to meet it in an accurate way, in a positive way, rather than letting it get the better of us. So there's no quick fix when it comes to Buddhism. It's a process. Like I mentioned today, every Buddhist meditation has a particular purpose. So it depends what we're trying to accomplish, which meditation we would apply to work with our mind in a given situation.
I think that that's something that's lost in our Western culture, that we actually don't understand that meditation practice is a mind training in a way, in order for us to not listen to it so much, but rather be able to be in stillness.
The placement meditation has a particular purpose, especially for Westerners. We do need to still our minds. We have so much stimulation coming into the mind through all the different sources. And so it's important to still the mind. But then I think even more importantly is to begin analyzing what's going on in the mind. And how do I work with what's coming up? How do I work with these different patterns of thinking that we've habituated? And how can we begin to transform or make more beneficial the way we're thinking about different situations?
A lot of people think that they can't meditate. You had pointed out today something different. Would you mind to?
Yeah. I often say to groups, if people know how to worry, they know how to meditate. Because when we're worrying, we're single-pointedly focused on an object. It's just that we're focusing in an erroneous way. We're thinking about the object in a way that's not going to be productive or helpful. So the real beauty and benefit of Buddhist meditation is to learn how to think in a more accurate way. So we have a more peaceful life, more positive relationships.
Speaking of positive relationships, for anyone out there in our audience right now who's watching this video, or anyone here in the room, let's say if they are having they have a person in their life that they just have a deep resentment for, and they want to find peace around that, what would you suggest to them to do?
Resentment is a type of anger. And so, as we mentioned today, anger really hones in on the negative aspects of a person or situation, and it exaggerates it, over-embellishes it. And so when we can recognize that's what's happening in the mind, then we have the opportunity to balance that out by remembering this person wants to be happy, wants to be free of suffering, just like me. And that gives us a little bit of space. And also to reflect that just like I'm controlled by different afflictive states of mind at times, this person is currently being controlled by an afflictive state of mind. It may appear as if they're consciously wanting to harm me, but the reality is they're not in control. So that helps to, I think, create a little bit of leeway in giving the person the benefit of the doubt, or just a little more space in the mind, not to react right away, but to think of the person similarly to a person who's drunk. If a person's drunk, you give them some leeway because you know they're not in control of their faculties. And the same is true of us when we're controlled by attachment, or anger, or jealousy, or pride, or resentment.
During your time in Dharmsala in India, are there any particular memories that you have with the Dalai Lama, or thoughts, or a particular teaching that he gave you that has always remained with you ever
I think
since?
the most important one is that recognition that all beings are really the same in wanting happiness, wanting to be free of suffering. If we can take that in deeply, how can we possibly hold on to anger or resentment or jealousy? You know, if we're really recognizing, just like I have trouble controlling my mind, the same is true of other people. And that level of compassion, that level of understanding really helps us to have a different kind of relationship with another person.
For your own personal journey, how has meditation altered your life and given you such a deep passion to actually dedicate your entire life to it, to then teach it? What was the moment for you and why?
Well, I think the first moment was in high school. There was a Catholic brother who was visiting our school, and he was watching us play tennis. And he said, I could help you improve your tennis game. I'll teach you how to meditate. So this was in the 70s. You know, the Beatles were doing it. It was really cool to meditate. And so
forgive me for interrupting. This was here in Tulsa. This was in Tulsa.
Bishop Kelly High School. And so it was just simple breathing meditation. But I noticed he had a little machine that he wrapped something around my head, and we could see on the machine the different brain waves that were happening. So I could see on the machine that by focusing my mind, that I was actually making a difference in what was happening physically in my brain.
So just for clarification purposes, you all actually hooked yourself up, if you will, to a machine so that you could calibrate the different brain waves that you would have, the difference between meditating and non-meditating,
right,
which then had a powerful effect on your tennis game. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I got this right. Is that, or not powerful effect, let's just say an effect.
It did have an effect.
It had an effect.
Yeah, it had an effect on my tennis game, as well as other aspects of my life. So when I got out of college then, in high school and college, I continued to explore the Christian tradition and did a lot of Bible studies and that sort of thing. And then when I moved to Seattle, I met up with some meditators and picked up the meditation aspect again and haven't turned back. Meditation is very experiential, so we can see right away whether it's working for us or not. The mindfulness meditation, but even the analytic meditations that we did today, you're working with your own experience to see, does this make sense? Is this logical? Is this going to be beneficial to alter the way I'm thinking about something?
You had mentioned, and this will be the last part, you had mentioned the scientific benefits. It is correct, isn't it, that now there are a lot of studies being done.
Right. There are over 100 studies of the physiological benefits as well as the emotional benefits of doing just the mindfulness meditation, let alone the other types of meditation that are available in the Buddhist tradition. So that's very exciting.
So not only did meditation have a good effect on your tennis game, but it had a positive effect on other areas. And as it had a positive effect on her life, it's had a positive effect on my own. And it's also had a positive effect on the lives of everyone that was here in this room today, which the retreat, by the way, was fantastic. I highly suggest to look Tenzin up on her Facebook page, if you would, just spell your first and last name so they can find you on Facebook.
It's under my lay name, so it's under Lynn, L-Y-N-N, Gebetsberger, G-E-B-E-T-S-B-E-R-G-E-R.
And you have postings there that people can read and be able to find out more. And then also this retreat today was here at the Osage Forest of Peace right outside of Tulsa. If you have not had the opportunity to come and visit Osage, I strongly suggest you do. They have wonderful retreats such as the one that we had today. It was just an extraordinary experience. It's always a very good idea to take a moment to pause, be still, regroup in life, because especially here in the West, we are certainly very, very busy. So with moments like this, it provides us the opportunity, like I've already mentioned, to regroup, center, and then go out and continue to have happier, more focused, peaceful, hopefully, lives. So thank you so much for today and your time. It was really, really beautiful.